What's up, y'all? Today I got every book that I read in the month of August. I'm saying it as a question because what day even is it today? I think it's August. It's September now. It was a pretty good reading month for me. I got, like roughly 20 books here, I think, that I read during that time. I don't think I'll be splitting this one into two videos, so y'all can just deal with one big one, dude, and just live with that. Anyway, I'm gonna jump into it with Tower Dungeon. This is by Tsutomu Nihei. This is the mangaka that did Blam, I think is how it's called, which I haven't read. I own the first big book. I think they call them like master editions of Blam. Have not read it because it seems scary, but I felt like I should get it anyway for some reason. This book, I I don't think it's very scary, but I enjoyed it a great deal. Tsutomu Nihei, I know, is known for like very imaginative, but like spooky settings and monsters and things like that. This book, I think. I mean, I heard the pitch for Tower Dungeon. The whole pitch is that there's a princess in a castle, kidnapped by some terrible monster, and you have to like go up the levels of the castle to save the princess, and every level has some new horrible monster. And so we kind of follow this boy as he's a part of the team that has to get sent up to do it. And I was like, I'm in. That sounds sick. Very like dark fantasy, playing around in that world. We have our good old main character boy here, who I don't recall his name at all. I read this not that long ago, but you know me with character names. And he joins like this group of knights trying to get into the top of the castle to save the princess. Now, the setting I think is way more interesting than that. Like leads you to believe like there's more complicated stuff happening that gets revealed at the end of this book. Yuva, that must be him. Which I think is really cool. This world's very lived in. I think his style, his like drawing style, is really cool. It's like simple, but in like the best way. Like he's only drawing the lines that like have to be there. Which for an artist, I feel like is a great, like the highest compliment you can give to somebody. There's a little bit of humor in here, but really, like his imagination just shows. Like I read this first book, and I was like, I just wanted to get more, dude. I just want to live in this world more, And I had a great time reading it. I would give Tower Dungeon a 4 out of 5 for sure. I will be buying these next books as soon as they come out. Up next, we got Aliens vs. Avengers by Jonathan Hickman, drawn by Esad Ribic, colored by a name I really should have researched. Yves Svorsina. That's what I'm going with. This book is exactly what it sounds like. It is aliens from the movie Alien, and they're fighting the Avengers, dude. This is like a 4-issue miniseries. Esad Ribic, incredible dude. Perhaps, I feel like I say this a lot, but like really one of the best comic book artists, I think. Just like period. I love his art, but he does not do. Well, I shouldn't say he doesn't do that many. Does a lot of big two stuff. It feels like is what they get him for, which makes me really sad. But I get it. I assume they pay him just like boatloads of money, as he well deserves. This book follows, the Avengers as we know it, dealing with aliens. This is like it takes place in the future. We get a lot of recognizable characters as aliens essentially just ruin everything. It's like the basic pitch of this. I mean, if you saw the title and you're not interested, then you're not going to be interested. It is Aliens versus Avengers. Something that made me sad is that we don't really get the moment where like it's not, we never see the Avengers like fighting the aliens, like the actual like fight that happens. We never get any of that. It is just like a doom and gloom. We've lost, and it's just us trying not to lose more, like trying not to go like extinct is kind of where this is at, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I was kind of hoping for the other one. But it's still it's fine. It's fine. Esad Ribic's art is actually sick. Like that dude is a sicko. Get a little Black Panther action there. But like we're meeting these Marvel characters, and it feels like a couple of them like I knew from movies, but I'm not so tapped into the big two stuff. So it's like I'm not trying to learn more about these characters. I don't know. I feel like this concept should be like pretty money in the bank of like, hey dude, just show me some cool characters doing cool stuff. And I don't know that I got enough of that from this book. And like the story is fine. but you know, it's not it's fine. It's fine. I didn't need that much from the story. I just kind of wish there was more like popcorn, you know, like cheer from the crowd moments in this book. I didn't really get it. That being said, Asad Rubich, I think by himself, like, makes this book. I can't put it any lower than 3 out of 5, just because he's drawing it. He's so good. If you like the Alien, you know, extended universe or whatever they do with all those movies, I've heard there's Easter eggs in there. I have not seen all of them. I've just seen the first Alien, so you know. I thought this was fine. 3 out of 5. Aliens versus Avengers. I keep saying I'm not going to buy big 2 books, and they pull me in with this random shit. You know how it goes. Up next, we got mugshots. I actually did another video about mugshots on the channel in my Hidden Gems series. So if you want to go and check out that video, you can see specifics about it. I gave mugshots maybe a 5 out of 5, but I actually don't know if I gave it a score. It's a great crime book. I really liked it. I would give it like a very high 4 out of 5 or like a low 5 out of 5. It's very good. It's very fun. It's not gonna like blow you away. It's like just like a good time crime story, which I've been reading a lot of crime books, man. What can I say? This shit slaps. Up next, we got Knights, written by Wyatt Kennedy, drawn by Luigi Formisano. Whoops. Colored by Francesco Segala. If you saw, I don't know what month it was, but when I read the first Knights book, I called this a 5 out of 5 banger masterpiece. It is a wholly unique vision. It is so specific in all the right ways. It like captures the joy of being young, what this like overtone of just horrific magic and like terrible things that happen in the world that ends up in this like playful middle area, which is exactly where I want to live in. I enjoyed this book thoroughly. The beginning of this book really threw me off. Oh, I guess I shouldn't be opening those pages. Whoa, so many naked people. Where do I even go? Anyway, Knights is really good. I don't want to say too much more about it. You should read Knights. This book is sick. It's so good. It's like truly and like a masterpiece. It's like an artist expressing themselves so wholly that it's very difficult to compare this book to any other books. I think it's very unique. I think it's magical, and I would recommend everybody at least give it a shot. It is a little bit, you know, like nasty, bloody, and a little bit sexy. Like there's a little bit of all that grossness in there, so be warned. But it's a great time, dude. Knights is so good. 5 out of 5. Up next, I have Station Grand by Craig Hurd McKinney and illustrated by Noah Bailey. This book is from Oni Press and has a sick cover, which I'm not going to lie, did lead me to get this book. Great cover. From Oni Press. I don't know if I got this book. You know, Noah Bailey, the illustrator for this, is really, really good. I think the art is beautiful. You know, he's got like a I don't know. Surely he's not using pencil in this, but I don't know how you even get like some of these textures that he has in here. Like, look at the side of that suitcase. Absolutely sick. It follows a guy who works on the space station, and he's doing some job where he's alone on the space station. I don't know if it ever is like told exactly what his job is, but he becomes paranoid during his stay, and he thinks there's someone else in there with him, and he like stops as he's like slowly getting less and less sleep every night. That's the gist of it. This is a really fast read for me. I just feel like books like this like are just not my cup of tea, you know? So if you're into like the more like, I don't know, it's like a introspective psychological exploration of trauma for somebody, which like I feel like this sounds cold, but I like don't give a shit. That's just not that's not my kind of book. I don't care. I think that like the artistry is definitely there. Like this is a very well made book, so I'm not trying to like shit on anything. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I read it very quickly. I think you could read this book in like 20 minutes really easily, which, you know, I'm trying not to go through books so fast, but it's a fast paced read, you know? There's lots of pages on here that are just like, you know, just like a couple words in here and like big draw, you know, just like all these drawings with no words on them. I think that Noah Bailey's art deserves a shout out. I think Craig Hurd McKinney is a good writer. Just the subject matter wasn't totally for me. This book wasn't a great fit. Not shooting it down for anybody, but I would give this book a 2 out of 5 for me personally. Up next, we got 1949. This is by Dustin Weaver. From his series at Image Comics, Packless, which is like a one-man anthology series where I guess he just does whatever he wants. And the story is issues 5 through 7 of that collected in this pretty nice hardcover, I think. It's cool. I do not know Dustin Weaver that well. I know that he is like a big shot and he did lots of big books with like the big two, but this is the first of his stuff that I have read. He is the artist. He is the writer. I think he's everything. I think he colors it. I think it's all him. And this book is like a cool, like time travel-y sci-fi noir is what it's going for. We follow, dude, look at this art. This guy's a sicko, dude. How do you draw this? It's so good. So good. We follow this detective in the year, of course, 1949. I'm forgetting her. Detective Blanc. Oh, wow. Detective Blanc. That's crazy. I almost forgot that name. Detective Blanc who is working in 1949, tracking down this serial killer. Look at this page, dude. I keep, like, distracting myself just with how good this artwork is. The black and white work in this book is actually off the chain ridiculous. I have never seen a black and white book that looks like this, which is kind of crazy to say, but I feel like it's true. I feel like this is like such a unique look. His like page layouts are absolutely sick and dynamic, and all the characters are so like, I don't want to say like exaggerated, but like in the best ways. They're like, it's animated, dude. It's so alive. This book is so alive. This is a great double feature read with One Hand and the Six Fingers. If you read that book, there's kind of good vibes going along in here that are along those lines, and I really don't want to give too much away, but like there's some really cool sci-fi elements in here that come later on that I think you should discover for yourself. After I read this, I like this book. As time has gone on and I've continued to think about this book, I think it's a 5 out of 5. Like my appreciation for this book only goes up as time passes since I have finished it, which I think is a real like accomplishment. You know what I mean? Like that. If that doesn't tell you this book is good, I don't know what will. I think that books that rise in your enjoyment of them as you continue to think on them are worth their weight in gold. It's very good. I enjoyed it a great deal. Yeah, there is some color in here as well. It's great. 1949, I would give a 5 out of 5. Big recommend. Super fun book. If you like detectives, you like sci-fi, this is the one, man. Up next, we got Batman Full Moon by Rodney Barnes and Stevan Subic. I have heard both of these names before, but I actually don't know their work that well. I think Rodney Barnes does Philadelphia, which I still want to try, but seems a little scary for a guy like me. Stevan Subic, this is the first time I have seen his artwork. Dude's a sicko. Look at this. Like, what are we talking about, dude? How do you even make something like that? I don't know. This book follows Batman, and not I hope this doesn't count as a spoiler, but there's some werewolves in this book. There's a werewolf in town that's infecting people, and Batman has to stop that from happening. It's sick. The artwork is wholly unique and fits the vibe so well. The vibe of this book is incredible. This is like an all-time like Halloween, spooky spooky read, but in like the fun way. You know what I mean? Like, I can't handle being scared, and it's not scary necessarily. I wouldn't say so, but like there's definitely a lot of like horror in it still. Like the soul of a horror book. Rodney Barnes' writing is a good time. He keeps it pretty light. I think there's some good jokes in here, There's some nice dynamics and chatter between characters. And altogether, I thought this book was a great time. So, like, if you hear Batman and Werewolf and you're interested, I mean, you should read this. It's not, again, not the type of book that's going to change your life, but I think it's very well executed, small scale kind of story. Like a great miniseries. It knows what it came to do, and I think it achieved it. There's some stuff like later on in like the back two issues that where I didn't love. Some of the like dialogue between characters felt kind of like stilted. But I still think that this book is like exceptional and a great time. Stefan Subik is a guy who I will be looking for lots more of his books. I feel like there's a lot of like this might be crazy, but you can feel kind of like a Frank Frazetta in his work. I think I'm not super educated artist guy, but he just knows how to make big strong things look cool. In whatever setting, which is really fun. This page is so sick. Ugh, his art's so good. This is just a great time, man. It's a great time. It's a fun read. I think I read this in one sitting, but like it's like light enough. You know what I mean? This is exactly what I want from a miniseries. It's exactly what I want from DC Black Label. I would give Batman Full Moon a 4 out of 5. Had a great time with it. Okay, so here we go. I read the Absolute hardcovers that came out. I'm not a Wednesday warrior like that, so I did not read any of these beforehand. I ordered these, read them all like back to back to back, and I really liked all of them. Shit is good. It turns out the hype is real, or the hype was accurate because the shit rips, bro. Absolute Batman, I think of the three, is probably my least favorite, which is not something I thought I'd be saying. It is, of course, written by Scott Snyder. It is drawn by Nick Dragotta. I actually don't know which way it goes. I've heard it both ways. Reimagining of Batman, So this is like, you don't need anything going in. This tells you everything you need to know. This is the first issue. And the first thing that I noticed in this book is that Nick Dragotta is an absolute sicko. I have not read East of West. I did read... I've seen his stuff before, that Jason Aaron, Once Upon a Time at the End of the World book. I saw him somewhere else too. I've seen his art before, but like this was incredible, dude. I think this artwork is 10 out of 10 stuff. Like the style and the present tense, the dense paneling, and he knows exactly where to put like the quote unquote like camera in every panel. It's so easy to understand, even though some of the panels get so small that he only fits like put like a hand. You know what I mean? There's like a tea bag in one of like he's so good at using the panels and then just the coloring over the top of it. He's colored in this one by Frank Martin, I think. Just incredible stuff. Yeah, it is Frank Martin. Incredible stuff. This story I thought was like rip roaring fun for like the first 3 issues. We get kind of like a side story thing in issue 4. Not a side story, but it's like the Batman kind of origin story, I guess. I don't know. It's like a weird flashback where it's drawn by Gabriel Hernandez Walta, who's an artist that I really, really like. That I thought slowed it down a lot from all this that's going on. Like, first 3 issues is just nuts to butts action, dude. And it's just like ripping through it. We're getting to see like there's lots of cool moments where Batman is showing off how he fights now and how he's different from the Batman before. We get Black Mask being a villain and just doing terrible dastardly stuff. We get some like the Purge style action happening in here from Black Mask. I think that the like plotting, like the actual plot of the story itself is really fun and entertaining. It's just that issue in the middle is like really weird and janky, and I thought messed with the flow of the whole thing. That being said, this book's still really good. I think I just don't know why you wouldn't read it. If you like Batman, you should read this book. I think this is Nick Dragotta has flown up my like comic artist rankings. Not that I'm really ranking them or whatever, or even that it matters. But to me, I really, really enjoyed his work in here. And I think a lot of that is owed to Frank Martin, but Nick Dragotta's a sicko, dude. It's so good. So, Absolute Batman, I'd give a 4 out of 5. Look at this paneling, dude. What is that's got to be like 15 panels on one page. He's a sicko, dude, and he's so good. He's so good. Great time. I would give Absolute Batman a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it, but probably my least favorite of the big 3 absolutes so far. Next, I got Absolute Superman. I feel like that was a weird note to end Batman on. It's my least favorite. I actually really like that book. I had a great time with it. Superman, for me, I'm not a Superman guy. Like, in general. I almost did not buy this Absolute Superman because I'm so not a Superman guy. Never been a character that clicks with me. I think he's corny. I am the Superman hater that everyone talks about. I think he's corny. I don't get it. I relate zero to this guy. However, Absolute Superman, I'm in. This shit rips, dude. Absolute Superman really blew me out of the water. And, like, just... I just couldn't believe how much I enjoyed a Superman story. Like, really, really. It was written by Jason Aaron, drawn by Rafa Sandoval. I should say the colorist. Do my due diligence here. Ulysses Areola. Carmine. Oh, whoa. What does he do? I didn't know his name was on here. I like him. Okay, but this is like that class, like closer to that like DC house style, which usually I'm not a fan of. I think Rafa Sandoval is very, very good. I actually don't understand how anyone draws this well. Like, look at that, man. Like, how do you even... I actually don't understand. It is very house style-y. It still has these, like, stylish, like, riffs and embellishes on the work that I think adds a lot of, like, personality to it. But we get the start of our Absolute Superman, so we get a lot of time on Krypton, because this version of Superman lived on Krypton, and he didn't come to Earth until he was like a teenager. So we get to see his mom and dad, like what their lives were like, how Krypton is different from how we see it in our head. This book's like very contemporary and is not afraid to be talking about like, stuff that's happening now. But I didn't feel like it was like preachy or like, like you know how when you can read that stuff it can take you out of the read. It did not do that for me. I thought it was pretty tasteful in how it was done. We see that Superman is going from these like mimes in these different countries that are all owned by the Lazarus Corporation, and he's essentially doing all the work for the people so that they don't get injured or like poisoned by the air on the job. And he's just like and the Lazarus Corporation is tired of it. Not really tired of it. They're kind of like don't even understand what's happening because there's no evidence of like a Superman type guy before. All their guards are peacemakers, which I thought was fun, cool little thing. Like that's the kind of stuff I was hoping for from Aliens vs. Avengers, dude. It's like fun stuff like that, man. But anyway, I think you're not there. I loved Superman in this book. I liked his attitude. He's like weird and moody, and he's got this beautiful, luscious locks as he goes through. And like the way he inspires people, I think is really cool and interesting. And like the reasons he's doing things, it takes Superman and makes him, instead of like this like, I don't know, larger than life kind of corny ideal of what like an old fashioned quote unquote like American man is supposed to be or whatever. And he's just so different, man. It's a different start. He's like moody and he doesn't really like any of these authorities and he's just doing what he feels is right, even if it goes against what other people might be. I don't know, the things that are like put in place around him, and he still fights against it. And he's got his cape that talks to him, so he's got this like robot assistant through it. And we get some Lois Lane stuff. I'm just gushing about this book. I already got too long. Absolute Superman, this volume was a 5 out of 5 for me. I loved it. This is for sure my favorite Superman story I've ever read. I will be getting all the issues. Jason Aaron, you're a magician, dude. I love it. And last of the absolutes, but not least, we have Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson, drawn by Hayden Sherman, as well as Mattia de Ulis? I don't know. Colored by Jordie Bellaire, I believe. Jordie Bellaire's a color. Yeah. Okay. Becca Carey letter. Becca Carey's good. I like her. This is our origin story for Wonder Woman. Kelly Thompson, for me, love her as a writer. I've always liked pretty much everything Kelly Thompson I've read. I've liked quite a bit. Hayden Sherman, y'all already know. I fuck heavy with Hayden Sherman. I think that they are one of like the most gifted comic book artists we have today, and this shows off all the reasons why. We start with they're on Coast City, Gateway City. It's literally right here. That's so embarrassing. And if you ever want to get me into a book, show me some shit like this, bro. Upside down pyramid floating menacingly around the city. And then horrible monsters pour out of it, terrorizing everyone. Wonder Woman comes in, beats ass. Just comes in, beats the brakes off all the demons. And we kind of, this whole book is bouncing between her dealing with these terrible demon threats attacking the city now, while also showing us her like origin story, where she came from, which you probably heard by now. Wonder Woman, the absolute Wonder Woman, is born in hell. Is raised in hell by a witch, Cersei. And this book, I think the paneling is very unique. I think Hayden Sherman is like God's gift to comics. And so I was just thrilled. Really unique panel layouts and how it works. Kelly Thompson's writing is as good as ever. She's so gifted at like making these unique characters and keeping it like it injects so much like fun and warmth. Although everything around this is demons and monsters, which I think is a really like intriguing combination. Like it's something that as soon as I started reading this, I like can't get enough of that like dynamic of like all the awful things, but how Wonder Woman is great because she's still so warm and like caring throughout all of this. Something also, not a huge Wonder Woman guy, like in general, because I thought that she was kind of corny with some of that stuff. But like, since seeing where she comes from and how she got that way in this book, is so like it pulls you in. It pulls you in so well, and I'm so attached to her. And then of course, as she becomes like the giant, like 7 foot tall Amazonian, I was like, I'm in love with this woman. But this book rips. It has everything you want from like character interaction. There's like all these wholesome, loving moments. There's Wonder Woman slicing up demons with a big sword. It has everything a boy could dream of. Issue 3 has some real like we get really into like witch magic in this book. It's so good, banger masterpiece. I really love Absolute Wonder Woman. I will be getting all the issues. I'm sure that this is like, the 40th video you guys are seeing about these Absolute books, and I'm like, 6 months late to the party. But I really enjoyed all these Absolute books. I'm going to be getting all the rest of them at least to give them a shot. I know they have like Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter. I'm really excited to get, the first trade of. I'm in, man. I'm in. They won me over. Up next is Preacher. I just had to record this part because I opened it up just straight to more naked people. This is written by Garth Ennis, drawn by Steve Dillon. This is the last book in the series. I'm so scared to open this book, literally at all. Here we go. I like this book. The series for me was kind of up and down, but I think that overall you can't call Preacher anything but like a masterpiece. It is a very unique story that I feel like it can only be represented in this way in the comics medium. Steve Dillon is a master. Garth Ennis might write the greatest dialogue, like just period. The charming character of Jesse Custer, where now he's just like, I don't feel like he started this way, but he ended up as like this cowboy, like John Wayne, like do the right thing, tough guy. Like, he introduces at the start of the story, he gets Genesis into his body and he has the voice of God where he can make people do things. And he is no longer using the voice. He is now just like big, scary, just guy who will just beat your ass into doing the right thing, it feels like. And I love it. I really do. The stuff with him and Tulip, it worked for me. Jesse Custer is like a Hall of Fame character in my eyes, and I think will always be that way. This book is definitely like over the top, and I think it's all for the best. I love Garth Ennis. Big recommend. I'm not going to go too much further into it. If you haven't read Preacher, if you're somehow reading comic books and haven't read Preacher, give it a go. Not for the faint of heart, but I think definitely a worthwhile journey. I would give this book 6 specifically a 4 out of 5. All right. Up next, I have Bolero. This is written by Wyatt Kennedy, who also wrote Knights. It is drawn by Luana Vecchio. I actually don't know if I can open this book and do this for the review. Let me peek. This is a sex-filled book. Filthy, filthy book. But that's like right at the heart of what the story is. Okay, cool. I feel like you can definitely see how Wyatt Kennedy gets from here to Knights. I'm jumping ahead of myself. First thing we should do is we should talk about the story of this book. We follow this girl, who surely has a name. Devin. There we go. But everyone calls her Dagger. We follow her as she goes through life. It feels very slice of lifey at the beginning, and we kind of follow her falling in love with this girl who also has a name. Who's to say what it is? I can't remember character names. But she falls in love with her, and then we kind of see that relationship kind of fall apart. And then we get to the point where she gets some kind of like magical way to try out like everything everywhere all at once, try out different versions of her own life. And we follow her as she uses that, perhaps abuses that, and is traveling from life to life while really running away from the same issue. It is like definitely like that's the gimmick that's in here, but the book is definitely like not about that. Like it's very, it leans towards the stuff that like I was talking about in Station Grand that usually I'm not a big fan of. It worked for me more here than in Station Grand, with like this introspective view of like, you know, this like poor mental health, the spiral decisions, like this drama and all that jazz. Definitely worked for me better here. It was probably a bit much for me by the end. But I do always love when you read, I gotta make sure, dude. I gotta make sure when I'm turning the pages. I do appreciate how authentic the stuff comes off, and you can see the potential in Wyatt Kennedy as a writer in this book. Although this book did not work for me, there were definitely parts of it that did. Luana Vecchio's art, I think, is cool. I liked it. You know, she's not like my favorite artist, but see, this, I mean, I don't know if y'all saw that. I gotta close this book. Bolero, for me, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. It's fun. I don't know that I'm necessarily recommending it to anyone, but there's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of heart put into this book, and it just it's like bleeding through the pages, you know? And I can always appreciate that. Up next, we got The Sixth Gun, Shadow Roads. This is written by Cullen Bunn, also written by Brian Hurt. Drawn by A.C. Zamudio, and also Brian Hurt does some artwork in there as well. This is a spin-off, not spin-off, but like in the same world as The Sixth Gun, which for me is a Hall of Fame comic. I love The Sixth Gun. So when I found out that this was not included in the other editions I had, and that there was like a spin-off story, I got very excited. However, this story did not totally do it for me. A.C. Zamudio's art I thought was really good. I really liked the colors. I just felt like the actual like plot of this book was not... It just wasn't that interesting to me. It didn't hold me. I feel like there was stuff with characters. Like I never connected with this main character kid. I like couldn't bring myself in. I do like Ghost Eyes quite a bit. The characters, I thought the introductions were cool, but then we're getting towards the end of the story, and I just didn't. I didn't feel that attached to them. We follow kind of like two stories that combine into one towards, not combined, but like cross paths with each other as it goes on. As I feel like Cullen Bunn is very talented at doing such a thing. Where we follow Ghost Eyes, where he's on one side of the world, he's looking for a girl with a gun, and they travel together. And we follow this guy who is living in London. He is a Native American man. He has his boy, who I forget his name. Henry is his name. There we go. His name is Henry. I forget his friend's name. And there is some kind of like dangerous hunter that is using magic and going around and killing people that they need to defend themselves from and defeat. It's like vaguely it's about, of course it's Cullen Bunn, so it's more dynamic than that. But that's like the main gist, and we kind of follow these characters on this like journey, really like a world traveling, you know, Indiana Jones dotted line map kind of journey as they go through this. It is called Shadow Roads because the Shadow Roads are a big part of it. There are some references to characters from the main series, but I didn't feel like they really got to cook, and that's not really enough for me to buy in just to see familiar faces. So ultimately I was disappointed, even though I will forever trust this art team. I thought A.C. Zamudio was very, very good. Brian Hurd is the GOAT. I love him so much. Cullen Bunn is an incredible writer. So, like, even though I didn't enjoy this one, I still got season tickets, bro. I'll be getting more stuff, I'm sure. I would give this book, Shadow Roads, like a low 3 out of 5. Up next, I got Mind Management, Book 2 out of 3. We're almost there. This is, of course, written and drawn by Matt Kindt. His mind control, secret agent, espionage story that he is probably most well known for. I think most people would call this the best Matt Kindt book. For me, the first book blew me away. The second one, less so. I feel like we were kind of going around in circles, which I guess we did in the first one, but it felt like there was more like reveals happening that made me appreciate the past story I read more, and there's less of that in this one. Although it's still interesting, and there's lots of stuff in the world that, you know, he could, it feels like he could go on forever with these cool, like, stories in stories and give me more different agents that are out there in the world. This is, excuse me, this kind of follows the main team with Maru as we are looking for more people to pick a side between her and her friends and the Eraser, who's the villain, kind of going through. Like, I feel like I could tell you something. I actually don't know how spoilable some of this stuff is because Matt Kindt is really good and these ideas are very interesting. I thought it was a great time. If you like the first one, here's more of it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go too far into it because it is very similar to the first one in all the best ways. I would give Mind Management a 4 out of 5. Again, I still don't feel like it's great for like new comic book readers, but if you've been in the game for a second, you know, I think this is really fun. Cool ideas, as always, from Matt Kindt. Up next, we got 100 Bullets, Book 3 by Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Risso. This series is so good. It's really good. The beginning of this one kind of slowed it down for me, but that did not affect the series as a whole, I would say. It's still a great time. It is a little... I am starting to hit the point where it's like, yo, okay, I get that this is like... There's a big shady organization. We're trying to take it down. It feels a little bit like how Mind Management, the second book, did, where we're not like actually furthering the plot at all at this point. We're kind of just moving around in circles, which I guess is fine, but I would hope that, like, you know, this is like 58 issues of comics, dude. How it feels like we're in like a pretty similar spot as we were in like issue 20 as we are in like issue 58 plot wise. But, you know, I'm still having a good time with it. You know, we're like really picking nits here more than anything. We get a lot of Dizzy in this book, I think, in general. She might be my favorite character of the bunch. I do like a lot of these characters just in general, but she gets to shine here. We get a lot of time with Wiley, who's another character. Brian Azzarello as a writer is very good. There are some times where I'm like, okay, all right, everybody's doing a cool guy line, I guess. It's like, this isn't even, I don't know. Everybody's got to have a one-liner showing they're smarter than the other guy, but that doesn't work for me in a book if everyone's the smart guy. If every character's the smart guy, then it gets kind of silly to me. And some of that definitely happens in here. But again, I'm like, these parts that I'm criticizing, this series is incredible. Eduardo Risso, I think, has to be on like comic book Mount Rushmore for me as for artists, just because of how full these pages are and how interesting he makes it. Like, so much of this book is just like conversation based, you know? There's not like intense like action or anything. It's usually like a tense conversation between two guys. That's what he's illustrating, and he makes it so dynamic. It's like somehow the most exciting book in the world, although it is mostly like dialogue. Like just people sitting around talking. And I enjoyed it immensely. I will be getting the rest of these. 100 Bullets is a 5 out of 5 series. This book specifically, I probably would give a 4 out of 5. But, you know, there's a lot of issues, man. That happens. Sometimes there's lulls in the middle. I get it. Up next, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the library edition. Although it's not actually library edition size. Well, it's IDW. It's not Dark Horse. So maybe for them it is. This is written by Jason Aaron. There are a million artists because every issue is drawn by a different artist. This is from the beginning of the series. We got Chris Burnham, Joelle Jones, Raphael Albuquerque, Cliff Chang, Derek Robertson, Juan Ferreira, who I love. This is like the new starting point for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All the turtles are separate. We don't exactly know why they're separate at the start, but we get one issue for each turtle that eventually comes together so that they're back to being a team again. Isn't that lovely? That's what's contained in this book. I really like this one. This is Donatello's issue, drawn by Chris Burnham, which I really liked. The other one, I like the Raphael one. I thought it was interesting. This book is fun. This book was fun. Yeah, it definitely, for me, was kind of like a turn your brain off book that I enjoyed. This Donatello one, I think for sure is the best. I think it has to be the best one. Even although I do love Juan Ferreira at the end as well. But we kind of just get into each turtle's situation, what they're doing there, how they got there, and then they're drawn back together to go fight back in New York because they have to, man. They're the Ninja Turtles. I think this book is good fun. If you're a Ninja Turtles person, definitely get it. I don't know if I will be carrying on with this one. I don't know if I will get any more. It was fun, but I don't think it drew me in enough to continue. Although I know Juan Ferreira does a lot of the artwork, and I think that he's incredible. This was probably the last one for me. I would give it a 3 out of 5. It's fun. It's fine. It's cool. Ninja Turtles, man. Up next, we got Saga Deluxe Book 3. I'm not going to say that much because Saga is the comic book series in the world. So you probably heard about it. You don't need to listen to me talk about Saga even more. This book, the series is great. This is a 5 out of 5 masterpiece. It literally has to be. This book specifically has some crazy plot elements and, reveals of the such. I don't want to go too much because this book is paced so crazy. I don't want to give too much away. But we follow the family. They're going through the universe. Fiona Staples is an incredible artist. Brian K. Vaughan is perhaps the GOAT. It's Saga, dude. Read Saga. There's literally no reason for you not to read Saga. And if you haven't read it yet, that, honestly, I think less of you. I don't mean that. You should read Saga, though. There's literally no reason. I don't know what kind of person would read this book and not like it. I actually don't know. It's too good. It's too good. 5 out of 5. Banger masterpiece. Read Saga. Up next, we got Criminal Deluxe Edition Volume 3 by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This shit rips, dude. Criminal is so good. It's so good. This one, we get a lot of Lawless family stories. We get this one that's kind of in this kooky, it gives us some throwback comics to set up some stuff happening within the Lawless family. It's incredible. I have to skip ahead so we don't see naked people. Criminal is a masterpiece. It is probably the best crime comic that there is, that I have read so far, at least. And I don't know if that'll ever change because these two are so good and they just keep making books. They just came out with a new criminal book not that long ago. Why would they not always be the best comic book? You know what I mean? Sean Phillips is one of the great comic book artists that there is. He fits with Ed Brubaker's style so perfectly. Everything just feels right. There's no squeaky wheel at any point in any criminal book literally ever made. I have made another video where I talked about what's contained in the first 2 deluxes. If you want me to kind of get more into the nitty gritty about what makes these books so good to me, you can watch that one. Otherwise, I don't want to get too far into it. It is the 3rd deluxe. Although these criminal stories are very anthology-like, so you don't actually have to read the first one. It doesn't matter what order you read them in, necessarily. This book is great. I believe this is the one that has, My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies, where the art style kind of changes a little bit, that I really liked. I thought it was interesting. We get some cool Ricky Lawless stuff in here. We get our boy Jacob is back. It's a great time. Criminal is such a good book. 5 out of 5. Banger masterpiece. Always will be. I hope there's 100 of these deluxe editions. I hope they never stop making it. So good. And for my last book that I read in August, I don't think that was in order, but the last one I'm doing in the video is The Old Guard. This is the new hardcover that came out. He's calling it an Immortal Edition, whatever that means. Volume 1. I don't know how many of these that he could make. It is written by Greg Rucka, drawn by Leandro Fernandez. It is colored by Daniel Miwa, lettered by Jody Wind. Okay, look at that, dude. It's a great painting there. That's nuts. The Old Guard You have probably heard of the movie that they made of this on Netflix. Um, it follows like immortal. There are immortal people. They go out and do these like military missions to do like good things in the world. I guess is the point of it. But they're kind of like a mercenary group. They can't die. They're all together. Leandro Fernandez is a sicko. His art is so good. He is definitely from the like Eduardo Risso school of comics because every page is so full. I would say that he has like some more dynamic is tough, but he utilizes like the 2-page spread more than Eduardo Risso. He does some really cool things with light. This comes up a lot of times in this book. Just he's incredible. It's very, very well done. The colors in this book is incredible. Greg Rucka is one of those guys. He's a writer that for me is moving up the food chain to become one of my favorite comic book writers. I would say he already is, just from reading Lazarus and Black Magic alone. I think puts him up there. But then he's got this series as well, which I think it feels as if this book came before both of those. There's some stuff in this book, character-wise, that I like don't totally latch onto with like the main character girl specifically. But that's not to say that necessarily it's bad, you know? That just didn't totally work for me. And anyway, I loved this book. I really, really enjoyed it overall. I do kind of like this is what I'm talking about, dude. Look at this. Who makes pages like this? I've never in all my days. Like, dude, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, I kind of wish. I always love stories about like people who can't die, like immortal people. I think is a very interesting topic, and everyone has their own taste. And I think that I brought expectations to this book about what it was going to be about. That it wasn't necessarily about. I would have loved more time, like more time as these immortal people move through time because they've been alive for so long, and we get some of it. But a lot of it happens, and especially in the beginning, takes place in the present day, which I just don't think is like the most interesting part of these guys. But that is not the book's fault. That is my expectations bringing to it. And I think that you cannot read this book and say it's not good. Like, the quality is so high on this. Look at all the words in here. It's so good. He's so good, dude. I really enjoyed this book. I think this book is a 5 out of 5. I don't know if I'd call it a banger masterpiece, but I think that it is so well executed, you can't call it anything less. Greg Rucka is great. I love him. Leandro Fernandez is an absolute sicko. If you just want to see some immortal people like kicking a lot of ass while also touching upon the deeper parts of life, this is the book for you. There's also like really cool interactions with how the immortal people like find each other and like all this. It's really cool. It's not just that they can't die. There's something else happening beneath the surface that I think is very interesting, and I can't wait to read more of it in future editions. Yeah. So that is every book that I read in August. As always, if you could leave me a comment recommending some more books, I would love to see it. I would also love it if you commented saying that you read a book that you saw on my channel. That would mean a lot. I always love hearing stuff like that. So, just if you feel like it. Yeah, that's it for me. I will see you guys, next month with a new batch of books. You know how I do. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next one. Yo, before you go, I wanted to show you the comics that I make. This is The Gifts of the Zadik. It follows our main character, Ram, who has just been crowned the Zadik, also known as the Chosen One, in his small village, and given unreal powers. But as soon as he gets these powers, he is disillusioned by the role that his people wish him to play, and so he wants to go out and find how to become a hero out in the world. It'll sweeten the pot. He also finds that there's another chosen one out there somewhere in the world that maybe can give him answers and help him find his true purpose. If you are interested in buying this book, you can get them at lior.com. It's a great way to support me, the artist, and the guy who runs this channel. Thank you all for watching. I'll see y'all later.